So I totally just killed all of my energy rolling from that last video. So I guess it's going to be a two-part thing. Yeah, so I had this whole super bright future ahead of me. I was going to, go on a trip to Spain with my son. I was going to come back, work one more week on the unit that I was on currently at the University of Utah, start my new job in the cardiovascular ICU. I was super stoked about it. I was enrolled in school to start in May of 2016, which was going to be just 1 week after I started my new job, and then I was going to work there for a year, and then or two, or who knows, because life never works out how you think it's going to. And then my end goal was to apply to CRNA school and have that kind of a future ahead of me. Well, I came home from Spain, and you can always tell when the story is about to get really intense, because the person telling it is yeah, some really sucky things happened. So I came home from Spain. I was super stoked about life. I started my brand new job in the cardiovascular ICU on May 10th, and then on May 11th, 2016, on my dad's birthday, I got a call that evening as I was going to take my son out to my parents' house so that he could stay the night so I could go to work the next day at my new job. So on my way out to their house, I got a call that that my dad was dead. Sorry. So my dad died. A lot of emotions that came with that. It was kind of as I got the call from my brother, I was almost expecting him to say that, just because for a very long time I was waiting for that call. Anyway, so that was the day after I'd started my new job. So I took about a week off from work. The day of his funeral was the first day of classes for this new semester, this new program that I was starting, and then everything was just kind of downhill from there. My first day back at my job, we withdrew care on a patient, and I hadn't ever worked on a unit where I saw death so much, and things just kind of tanked. I couldn't get my shit together. I couldn't, I felt like I was just constantly defeated. I didn't feel like I was strong enough to handle the emotions I was feeling. I was trying to be a single parent. I was trying to be, as strong as I could for my son, and show people that I was okay and that it was fine and Caitlin didn't need help with anything. But that wasn't the case. I was really, really, really struggling. So I ended up withdrawing from my classes that semester at the very end of the semester, when it became quite clear that I was not going to be passing. And that's never been like me, to do so poorly in school that it's embarrassing to even talk about. But I'm being real with you. I'm sharing this story because it's important. It's important background information to know just how far I've come with my life. So that had happened, and then come fall semester, jumped into a new semester thinking that things were going to be better. Continued to work in this cardiovascular ICU. Super intense, really stressful. Patients are dying all the time. Really difficult situations. I am a person who cares a lot about people, and I would try and be tough and put on that hard face and that hard shell. And as one of my friends put it, just be heartless, have no heart, whatever you want to call it, just for the sake of getting through and being able to provide patient care and take care of people, regardless of all the shit that is going on non-stop around you. I was working half days and half nights. My sleep schedule was all skiwampus. I was trying to do school, and then everything just kind of crashed and burned when I didn't realize it was taking such a toll on my personal life. I didn't realize until hindsight that Oliver and I didn't go hiking anymore. We didn't. My days off, I'd work 3 days a week, but then I'd have 4 off, and then I still would not feel like I'd recovered by the time I'd go back to work again the next week. It was just nonstop, and it was, some people are built for it, but it wasn't something that was conducive to my home life and, for Oliver and myself here to be happy and healthy humans, and also be, living this life of superhero nurse who kicks ass in her workplace and is so smart and knows all these things. It just wasn't it wasn't jiving. The two didn't work out. So I had actually, and there's actually a lot of people who don't know this part about my job, but I had, after I had Oliver, I had really bad postpartum depression, and I was taking Prozac, quite a decent dose of it, and when, I ran out about a week and a half before Thanksgiving, and I felt like I was okay because that's how, antidepressants work. You feel like you're fine, you don't need it, and I was working so much that I didn't have much, like the days that I had off, I'd be too tired to go pick it up, and again, I would rationalize not refilling my prescription by telling myself that I was fine, it was going to be okay to not refill it up. So on Thanksgiving Day, I went to work, I arrived late, I was not feeling well, I hadn't eaten in days, and literally I was like throwing up the day before, and I was talking to one of my coworkers who was like, oh, sucks to be you because you can't call in on holidays. And I was like, yeah, I know this is going to suck. So I got to work late because I'd overslept. My son was staying with my parents that night, and I was just going about my merry way. And then as I was taking medications into a patient's room, I was pulled off the floor and told that I was acting weird. I was drug tested. I was escorted to the main lobby in the hospital and monitored by security until I called a friend, or until the friend that I had called arrived to pick me up and take me home. They were under the impression that I might have been on drugs or impaired in some way. When I eventually got an email from my boss, who was an interim manager, it stated that I was observed hanging IV fluid slowly, opening the Shern Med, which is like the med cabinet, and taking longer than normal to remove medications, and just seemed forgetful. These symptoms became a little bit worse before they got better when I realized that I was experiencing a bad, bad side effects of the discontinuation of the medication that my body had been so dependent on for so long. And so that was a very humiliating experience. I was told, we're just waiting for the results of your drug screen, then you can be cleared to come back to work and all this stuff. And then one day I went and met up with my manager and HR, and I was told that my job, I was being, basically the decision was to either terminate me or not. And then the next day my boss didn't call me back when she said that she would, and then the day after that she called me and said that she was moving forward with the process of termination. And when I had been under the impression that, I just needed the drug test to come back, which I knew was going to be negative because I was not on drugs, then I'd be cleared to come back to work. And then all of a sudden I had no job. That was rough. I didn't tell anybody about that. I felt like I was such a failure. I had failed everybody who'd ever tried to help me in my life ever. Everything was coming down to this moment, and I was like the worst nurse in the world, the worst human in the world, the worst mom in the world, the worst friend, the worst daughter. Like everything that I was awful. And I was so depressed and just so down, and I, day in and day out, it just felt like Groundhog's Day. I'd wake up and not know what to do with my life and not know how to move forward, how to, find the light in my life again, because this person that I was every single day, it wasn't me. It wasn't something I wanted to be for any amount of time ever, let alone knowing that I was experiencing it. I didn't want to have to live it out because, that hard times are going to pass, because they always do, but I didn't want to live through this and have to go through it to be able to see it behind me and to have moved on from it, because I didn't have to go through it. And it was awful. It was really awful. I didn't see my coworkers, people I respected and worked with all the time. I was suddenly like an outcast. I would just be in this house with my son and just felt like I had just failed on every level of my life. 2 weeks later was the end of the semester, and I barely passed 2 of my classes. The third one I had to retake because I didn't pass it. It just, things were not going well. So, over, I was hopeful that things would be okay because I had a good education, I had a good nursing background behind me, I'd be able to get a job. I feel like I'm relatively easy to get along with. I enjoy my coworkers in general. It was just a matter of having to go through the process of applying for jobs again and looking again and having to look for jobs that were outside of a corporation, or not a corporation, an institution that I'd been part of for several years. And and not only that, but a corporation, or sorry, an institution that I had raised up so high on a pedestal, and to me was like my end all be all for a very, for a long time until I finished grad school. That was really hard. That was a hit, and that was not something that I wanted to do. I didn't feel like it was fair. I didn't feel like people understood me. I didn't feel like people would understand if I told them the situation. I felt, brushed off and so unimportant and worthless. The only thing I had to live for day in and day out, honestly, was the fact that I had a son that I raised full time. So, with all of this, I was part of several groups on Facebook about, drop the word, lip sense, and I was annoyed because I would get all these notifications about posts and whatnot, and finally I was like, you know what, I'll try one. What's the harm in that? May as well just jump on the bandwagon now. Try one, give it a fair shot before I continue to be so judgy about it. So I tried one color. I ended up, my computer keeps falling asleep. I ended up absolutely loving it. And then as I learned more about it and learned about, how to become a distributor, I kind of went back and forth with the idea, if I do this isn't really me, not really my personality, but the stuff is really awesome. I think I could kind of make a killing with it if I, just kind of go for it. But taking that kind of risk and really putting myself out there was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. So around this time, I, had gotten the job that I currently am working at now at Intermountain Medical Center. I'm working in the post-anesthesia care unit, and it's like the recovery room after people have anesthesia. They come to our unit, wake up enough to go to their next destination, and then carry on. So I had this job. It was going to be all day shifts, all these really great benefits to it, and my employers were super excited to have me, and I felt like I was wanted again. I felt like I was worth something apart from, my role of being a mother, which to me is an important thing and has always been something that I've treasured. I sound like an old person. Something that I've really valued in my life is, I'm someone who kind of needs that a little bit of external validation to tell me or show me that what I'm doing is good. I'm a good person. I'm doing things that are worthwhile, and I am desired. People want me to work for them because I am good. Who doesn't want that, right? So, I became a distributor for LipSense, or for Senegence, and just kind of turned it into this business that I branded as Infinite Allure by Caitlin. Infinite, not infinite. Struggling. And from there, I kind of just this sounds so cheesy, I just turned inward and was like, you know what, I'm a badass. I can do this. I can sell this crap. I can, my life can go in a direction that I have never seen it go before, because there's potential in this thing and in this endeavor that I did not have just as being a nurse, working 12-hour shifts, or working, clocking in and clocking out, being told, no, you can't do overtime, or no, you have to be here from this time to this time, and being told what to do all the time. And the time that I had off in between jobs with my son was incredible, and I've become so hungry to have more of that in my life, and not just on days off, but I want to have that whenever I want. So I kind of like made this goal to start moving my life towards that, towards the goal of branding myself, working for myself. I felt empowered. I felt like the world is my oyster. Like, it is mine. Like, I'm going to take over all of it because I am so capable and I can do this. And my life will be what I want it to be. And there's like a feather. This feather! Ah! And my life will be what I want it to be. And it's going to be amazing. And you know what? As soon as I started telling myself that I was going to get what I want, even if I have to work my butt off for it, it started happening. Things have been great. I have this confidence in me. I feel empowered. I feel like I can empower other people. I feel like there's this opportunity that's in front of so many people that they are not aware of, or maybe skeptical about, or reluctant to obtain more information about. And I like hold the key to this magic, and I need to share this and let other women, men, whoever wants to be part of it, and let you know that it is an incredible opportunity with a company that is new and starting. In this first 66 days of 2017, there were more sales than all of 2016 combined. So it is the perfect opportunity to jump on board, to be part of something bigger than yourself, to see yourself as something bigger than you ever thought you could be, or to see yourself as something that you imagined yourself to be but didn't know quite how to achieve that. To work for yourself, to set goals and reach them and have this kind of validation because you are a badass and you are getting shit done. Good things come to those who hustle. So if you can do that and you get what you work for, and Senegence has merely set up a foundation for people to they've given you the tools, and if you take them and rope them in, you can make it your own and make it what you want to be. As big as you want it to be, or keep it as small as you want it to be. But either way, it's an opportunity that I never saw myself taking upon. I never knew that I could feel like this. It feels so good to feel good and to feel good about yourself. But not just that, not like, oh, I had a good night's sleep, I feel great today. But every single day when you wake up, you have a purpose. Every single day when you wake up, you feel motivated and driven and inspired to make something more than you have before, and to go further and push further and try harder, and to really just lift yourself up and be the person that you admire, because you have that in you and you can do it. And if you believe in yourself, I know that sounds so cheesy, but like seriously, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And I've never really taken that to heart until I've started with this journey of mine. It's become something more than I ever even thought it would be, and I have not been a part of it for very long. But you get out what you put into it, and if you're really driven to make it something, and if you really want to, live the life that you love, to empower yourself and enable yourself to have all these experiences and opportunities, to travel, to do whatever, without having to worry about like taking vacation time, without having to worry about, limitations of working for the man. This is a perfect opportunity to do just that. And I speak personally with this, and that I go to bed. I struggle going to bed because I want to keep doing what I'm doing because I love it. And then I wake up in the morning and I am motivated, and I'm like, the gears start turning early in the morning, And I pop out of bed. I'm not a morning person, but I pop out of bed because I love what I'm doing and I'm like energized by it. It's been one of the most incredible journeys that I've ever been on, and I've been on a lot of journeys. Um, my life is truly, truly amazing. It is truly something different than I ever imagined, times a million. But it is something even more beautiful than I ever could have imagined. And had I not taken that initial risk to do something that I was afraid of doing, something that was bigger than myself, then I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And you're a badass. Gotta own it and do it. Do what you love.